now.
Got it.
Right. So dearly welcome to the 2021 first day of 2 of the training online for TTT.
Yeah.
And my name is Ulf Sandström, and I'm one of your 2 trainers.
Yeah. And my name is Gunilla Hamne. Even if it says Peaceful Heart Network, I'm going to change my name instead, even if I am also Peaceful Heart Network, but my name is Gunilla Hamne. So yeah, today is the fantastic day, the Wednesday, 15th of September. Beautiful day.
The legendary Wednesday.
Legendary 15th, when you can, I mean, this can mean the biggest change in your life ever, just joining this this webinar. So we are super happy that you are here. So and thank you for writing your name in the chat. So let me just go and close my door. You take on, Ulf.
Yeah, so I'll take over. So we'll present ourselves shortly, and what we're doing here is we're looking at well, what we call first aid and resilience for stress and trauma. So this is specifically first aid. So it's something that anybody, anywhere can learn and use regardless of what country you're in, because this has nothing to do with therapy or treatment. It's first aid. And the reason it's first aid for us and resilience for stress and trauma is because stress and trauma are the 2 major challenges for mental and physical health and human interaction in the world today and ever. So if we can get a grip on stress, create resilience, and resolve symptoms of trauma, we probably will have world peace.
Yeah, so I'm very happy that you're writing in the chat, and that we see that some of you have already, been in some training. One was in a training of addiction recovery the other day we had, and we want to get deeper into this. We have Valerie White, who has been, sharing this and want to share TTT and get deeper into it. We have some of our colleagues from a project in Sweden that we recognize the name of, who are also partly, very, and then some of you are new to the TTT. So that's very good, because then we can share, and also some of you who have used the TTT can kindly share your experiences when we move on. So we will do like this, because we are now like almost 40 people. So it's, and the chat is very good, but we are super happy if some of you would like to also use your microphone and tell some of your experiences. That's very good. Okay, good. Now it's Tanya also. I just let her in also.
Yeah, so. Excellent. So we'll be telling you about us and our work, and this is the Peaceful Heart Network. We're a nonprofit organization that has been doing this for quite a while, over a decennium, over 10 years, and our aim is to ease suffering and prevent violence by spreading these techniques for first aid and resilience from stress and trauma. So you will be learning about us as we go along, so we don't need long explanations. We will jump straight into experiential learning, which means we will be showing stuff and asking you to join in directly. So we just ask you to put your critical thinking aside. You can be critical after, it's easier, and just playfully put on what Pippi Longstocking, who happens to be from Sweden, calls her research hat. It's a hat, imaginary hat that goes over the eyes, and then you just kind of explore, an exploration hat. So should we start with our traditional greeting?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Yeah, your image is freezing, Gunilla. So
let's start with our traditional greeting. So, let me change I'll change my connection.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'll just start the greeting. So you can look the first time and then join, or you can join directly. But this is what we do. Clap your hands. Let's do it again. Excellent. One more time.
Yeah, and then you stop up here. So you let your arms rest in the air, and then you raise your chin and you let your eyes look up and watch the ceiling or look at the ceiling, because in this position, we call it, or it is called by a researcher by the name Amy Cuddy in a TED talk where she calls this a power pose. And if you now just look down a little bit on your screen, you will see the image of two praying mantis. So who knows this very well? So you keep your arms up. And why do we do that, Ulf?
Well, it's because everything you do with your body is reflected in your mind. Everything you do in your mind is reflected in your body. So if you in your mind feel that you've succeeded with something and you're happy, every single person on earth who is a mammal, a person who is a mammal, that's all humans, will do this, which is a gesture of yeah. And when you do a gesture of yeah, it's because your mind told your hormones in your body yeah, and then your body does it. And it's reverse engineering means that if you do this, your body will go, oh my God, I'm doing yeah. And it will start manufacturing the yeah hormones inside you. And then your brain will go, I feel good.
So in Swedish we call it, because that's a rhyme, allt du gör med kroppen påverkar knoppen, meaning everything, repeating everything you do with your body will affect your mind. So it is this fantastic connection that we have. It's not something that is cut between this part and that part, which sometimes seems to be the theory in certain circumstances. So this greeting, it not only goes to this power pose, but it also has a meaning, or it has several meanings, because it depends on who you are. So if some of you would like to just open your mic and say, what's your association, or what is your thoughts when you see this? What do you think it can symbolize? What does it symbolize for you? These three, you clap and you put the hands on your chest and you clap and you put the hands towards each other, and then you go into the air.
So please don't be shy. Just unmic yourself and speak boldly and bravely.
Yeah. Who is the bravest in this group of 40 people? Please open your mic. And nothing is wrong, nothing is right.
I give love to myself and I give love to others.
Okay, you give love to yourself and you give love to others. And then this third one, because it's like three, is that also for others? Both this and this is for others. That's what you mean. Okay. Was that you, Bonnie?
It's for me, that's for others, and this is the energy from the universe. It's a big love.
Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah.
I would
to
say
yourself.
I would say you, me, and everyone.
You, me, and everyone. Yeah.
Excellent.
Exactly. You, me, and everyone, or you, me, and everyone. Wonderful. And power from the universe. Anybody else? Just the last one.
I said peace to me, peace to you, and peace to the world.
Wonderful. Peace to me,
Excellent.
Peace to you, and peace to the whole world. And somebody else was starting saying, I heard another voice. I lost one.
This is Gabby. I was going to say making a connection with the divine.
Okay.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah. And I usually say it's like in the airplane, back in the days when people could fly places, the oxygen mask would be first for you so that you can help somebody else. And then you can say thank you to the pilot for flying safely.
Yeah. And in this circumstances also for us, it is like, to be able to use this technique and assist others, you need first to take care of yourself and use these techniques for yourself. Then you can assist others. But then you also need power, like you say, from the universe, from nature, from God, from your higher self, whatever is your way of looking at life, and where you get your strength from. So it also has this kind of importance that when working with people, you have to take care of yourself. Not that you have to take care of yourself only, but to take care of yourself parallel to assisting others, since that is what we're doing with this. We want to reach out to others, but use it for your own strength and resilience. Great. So that was technique or exercise number 1. So we keep gathering or collecting, I think it's better to call it, collecting all different kind of techniques that we can share with others easily, like this in a webinar. We love simple things. I keep it simple, but keep it simple and efficient, so not just anything. So we have a number of techniques, but this is one, because also if you work live now, that at least in Sweden, we start having groups again after the pandemic, or I mean, like this, we're also a group, but when we really stand in a circle and do this greeting together, you synchronize the group very easily, because the clap becomes a rhythm. Rhythm is difficult over Zoom or so, because often there is a time lapse, so it doesn't really go, but still it is doing this rhythm and these gestures to each other. So it's a very, I mean, it's simple, but very powerful. And where did we learn this, Ulf? Could you tell?
Well, this specific reading we learned at City of Joy in Congo, which is a safe center run for women who have been subjected to gender-based violence. And it's Eve Ensler, the creator of the Vagina Monologues, that the playwright that has amassed millions of dollars to be able to run these centers in different parts of the world. So women who have been subjected to gender-based violence, some of them with children of rape, some of them needing to heal physically, some mentally, some emotionally, they get to stay around 90 women for 6 months in one of these centers, and they get to find a way back emotionally, physically, mentally, and to get a good understanding of how they can be empowered and return to their villages as ambassadors for human rights and healing modalities. So they also learn tapping and havening, which we will show you today.
Yeah, so that's just to give you a hint that our work with Peaceful Heart Network, or our work with TTT, it started and kind of far away from where we are now. I mean, I'm in partly north of Sweden, Ulf is in Stockholm, but we started this work in Rwanda and Congo, which is like, and because thinking that these kind of techniques are not needed so much in Sweden, because here you can get everything. I mean, there is a long list of therapies if you go to a dictionary or to the the catalog of therapists in Sweden. You find hundreds of different kind of therapies. But then after some years, at least I learned differently, that this was as much needed in Sweden as the places where we have been working before.
Yep. And we actually call it, we usually don't use the word therapy that much. We call it techniques because it's like a first aid technique. You don't do mouth-to-mouth therapy. It's a very fast thing you do that anybody can do to help somebody. But to give you an idea, we'll just give you a little taste of it before we continue. So your level of stress can go from zero stress into slightly stressed, into more stressed, into traumatic stress. So traumatic stress is just way higher on the scale of stress from 0 to trauma, right? So what it is about, it's about the escapability, if you're able to escape or not. So what stress does to your body is it creates different states. And most people today dissociate from their feelings. We either medicate them or we distract them with our phone or with a drink or something, or we do something else. We surf. So we're not as connected as we have been traditionally because there are so many distractions about. So let's just check in really fast and do the very basic, simplest part of these protocols, which is just try this. Just try tapping over the front of your chest, on the front of your body, under your collarbone, and do it slightly fast, not too hard, not too soft. And now you can try just going a little bit from side to side, not a lot, because when you engage fine motorics, you're doing the opposite of being in fear. And the third part of your nervous system that you can always regain control of, which is the opposite of what you do when you're in panic, is your breathing. So your body will run your breathing for you if you don't think about it. It's called autonomous, but you can also do it consciously. So just breathe in, hold your breath, and then you put your front teeth on your lower lip for the letter F, as in frivolous, and you just breathe out on the F. So breathing out on the letter F allows you to breathe out much slower than you would normally. You take one more breath, hold it for a few seconds, which presses in more oxygen into your heart and into your brain, and breathe out on a long, slow F. And just one more time, breathe in.
You can
And
breathe in
now,
with your nose.
as you breathe out, just check in with your body and ask yourself, if you felt really relaxed now, how would you feel? If you felt really relaxed now, how would you smile? Who would you be thinking of that would make you smile? What memories do you have with people or situations that bring a smile to your face and a relaxation to your body? And how much more could you be relaxed right now? Simply doing this, focusing inward, wobbling a little bit from side to side like a penguin, tapping your chest like a mountain gorilla, and smiling like the mother of Buddha or the father. Never heard of him. But just doing that, the benevolent smile of, yeah, there you go. Excellent, Sophia. Beautiful. Right. And just notice, you've been breathing consciously, using fine motorics consciously, and tapping consciously on your chest, and just smiling a little bit at your very personal memories for 2 minutes. So what do you notice? Please write in the chat. Did you notice anything? Was there a change?
Yeah, I mean, and this part of your chest has so many different points of lymph drainage, it's called, lymphatic points. It is muscles that contract when we are, go into worry and anxiety. It has, the area that easily gives oxytocin increase in your hormone system. This is where you would pat a dog often, or a cat, or any kind of animal, because it is a connecting. It's a connecting with yourself and with others, opening up the chest. And as Ulf said, sometimes we actually call this gorilla tapping, because the gorillas, everybody has seen a gorilla, tapping on the chest. And again, where we started this work is just where the mountain gorillas dwell, in Uganda, Rwanda, Congo, in those areas. So for to meet those gorillas, and they're powerful, and they also only eat leaves and fruits, but they, this is showing that, yeah, this is my place, this is my space. It's the contrary of hiding and going away. So everything of this is just like the power pose. It's opening up to the world, giving yourself strength, and countering fear and anxiety.
So we have deeply relaxed, calm, centered, safe, relaxed, calm, smiling, more calm, settled, relaxed, calm, straightened, relaxed, peaceful.
Warm honey in my
warm.
veins.
Oh, now we have poets here. I love it. Warm honey running through my veins. That's excellent. So we just did 2 minutes of conscious breathing, wobbling, and tapping, and smiling, and accessing memories of things that would give us a smile. And this actually changed your state. It changed the chemistry in your body. It changed your hormones. it told your cells to create a different energy. It's actually an epigenetic shift because you have now shifted. So if you're calmer, it means you have turned off defense systems and you have turned on anti-inflammatory and rejuvenating and restoring functions of the body. Your digestion system has restarted and has been given priority. And so you should probably be feeling a little bit heavier as well, because it's easier to feel your weight when you relax than it is to feel if you're tense or not.
Yeah, so that heaviness, it's like sitting and then you feel even more and even focus on feeling heavier when sitting, or laying down. That's, the easiest way to connect to this relaxation, because that means that we're not holding up and being worried. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can relax, I can sit, I can stand, I can lay. And then you start feeling your body weight.
Yeah, and you can also say that if this is the power pose, where you're actually opening your chest, opening up your lungs so you get more air, straightening your posture and everything, the actual opposite of that is quite interesting, because it's a reflex that we humans go into when we are scared. And I'd like you to consciously go into that reflex that is called flinch. And flinch is a defense position of humans. So you put your back, arch it upwards. You put your head down to protect your throat with your chin. You put your arms in front of you, and then you clench your fists and your wrists inwards to the body. This is the defense position that's autonomous, that you will go into without even thinking. Even a newborn child will do this if it's scared by a sudden noise or something else. So this is to protect your vital parts. It's hardwired in your system, and it will now raise your stress level slightly just by doing so. But here's the big deal. Do you see what I'm doing now? I'm sitting on the couch, checking out my phone, or on the bus, or on the bus stop, or in the bed. And what I'm doing is the actual body position of checking your phone is that of flinch, is that of telling the body the opposite of power posing. It's saying, we are stressed. So I recommend you, if you have to check your phone, take selfies, because they are more of a power pose.
Selfies once every 10 minutes or something. So open up. Yeah, perhaps a bit more, or perhaps just use the phone a bit less.
Yeah, just put it aside.
Else. Walk out and hug a tree, instead. So I think that's a better idea.
Actually, I just came to think of it that, with age, actually having to read papers at a distance is actually quite good, because it allows you to power pose whenever you read something.
Okay, depends on your glasses. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it sure does.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that is another exercise. Actually, we have, we have written a book that now is called Trauma Tapping Technique. Do you have one of those? I looked for mine.
Of course I do.
The new title. So you show it instead of this one. Yeah.
Trauma Tapping Technique. It's a book about trauma tapping, but it's also about the other 12 techniques we teach. It has the science, it has the adventures, the testimonials, the pictures. It basically has all of it. Yeah, thanks, Tom. And we do give it to you as a PDF as part of this training, because we believe in spreading the information. And if you would like to have it in printed form, you can either order it from Amazon or you can order it from us. Doesn't really matter. Either way, whatever comes in is going to spread the information more.
It's just when you order it from us, it will be called Resolving Yesterday. And when you call it, when you order it from Amazon, it's called Trauma Tapping Technique. We were asked to change the title. So yeah, so it has and that's what I wanted to say, exactly what Ulf mentioned, that this book is having all those other techniques inside. And this, what we did is, I call it gorilla tapping. We call it also on a card that we have made, which says find calm and pass it on. It's not stay calm, because it's not easy. If you're not calm, you cannot stay calm. But you have to find calm and pass it on. And on the back side, there is the QR code for our app, the smartphone application we have, and the this one that we call here then quick stress relief, that you can use this tapping on your and the breathing together just for short, when you have, wherever you are and you're feeling, oh, things are getting nervous or, worried about something, or you're going to talk to somebody or to your boss or have asked for a better salary or something like that. And you feel, oh, well, and then it's good to do something, either the power pose or this one. So that's what I mentioned in the beginning, that we have collected these techniques that's really work. Yeah. So these cards we have produced, and actually we can also send you the PDF of it and you can print it where you are if you're interested. So just write that in the chat and we save it, because it's like a postcard, and then you can always give it to somebody. So it's not small like this kind of what they call business card, but it is bigger, so people can even put it on your fridge or something like that. So we try to use every kind of way to spread this message because we find it so important. Mm-hmm.
But let's get a bigger perspective. Let's zoom out and see why we're doing this, just to get an idea, and where we have been doing this, to give you some confidence in what we're doing. So we say that we'd like the world to be a better place. We'd like the world to be a safer place with less suffering, to prevent violence. And it is actually like that, but it's also to prevent mental ill health and to prevent the most of the cardiovascular diseases that actually kill people because they are stress related. So we have 7 billion people. We have 64 million of them that are displaced, which means they are refugees inside or outside their country. And then we have an ongoing coronavirus pandemic, whether it's still flagged as a pandemic or not, it still is affecting travel and business and income and all kinds of stuff. So what can we do?
Yeah, so that's what we asked us. What can we do? And then we, found this word that we learned, that we will have to do this together, isn't it? Yeah.
And the word?
Yeah, and the word is, and we went to our roots in Rwanda to get this word, because many African Bantu languages have this fantastic depth in their words and mean many things. And the word we love, one of the words we love in Kinyarwanda is turikumwe, which means we are here together. For some, they know more the word that is called Ubuntu, which is more spread by Desmond Tutu and others after, from South Africa. But Turikum is similar. It means I'm here because you are here. We are not isolated islands in the world. We have met people along the way that has made us the person we are. And we keep meeting people, whether you feel it's, I would wish, this person was bad or good or so, but it still has shaped us. And we cannot live in this world without each other. Yeah, so that's why we say Turikumwe. We have to do something together, and this is our way to change something in the world together with you.
Yep. And so we look at other people who have similar ideas and we tie into them, because we believe that the wheel does not need to be reinvented every day. So actually the wheel has been reinvented. It's a very cool tetrad wheel, but that has nothing to do here. Okay, so never mind. So Sundar Vision is from Professor Vikram Patel. He's a professor in global mental health, and he has been working in India. He has been working in Africa. He's now in the US. And he has an acronym, which Sundar stands for, which ties in with our mission. Because the S stands for simplifying the language. The language is overcomplicated. We have all these different diagnostic criteria, and each diagnose overlaps or is called comorbid with other ones, because they all have the roots in the same symptoms. The symptoms of stress and trauma are common in every single diagnose. So if we simplify that language and back out a little bit of that system, we will probably be able to understand what's going on a lot more.
Yeah, and then the UN stands for unpack, which means like, you know, you unpack like a treatment. It's like we have done even with our own tapping, that we take out one part so that it's easy for people to get it, instead of, you know, of course, connecting again to simplify, but the unpack means also show this part, this part, this part, so that it is more clear what has to be done.
Yeah. So we unpack the huge treatment and therapy that exists for different kinds of things into the most simple, lowest common denominator, which is quick stress relief, trauma tapping, and self-havening for creating resilience and resolving symptoms of anxiety.
Yeah, and even breathing, you know, it is like just making people aware that breathing is the most, you know, basic treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're addicted to breathing. So yeah, the D stands for deliver. So we need to deliver these simple unpacked treatments in a simple way and form where people actually are. Because in some of the places we work, there's an infrastructure that doesn't really allow people to travel so much. And even if they could travel without paying for travel, they wouldn't have the time to take free half a day to go get a training. So it wouldn't help doing a training in a nearby conference center because people have to carry water in some cases. And this is a lot of people. So you deliver this to school teachers, to village helpers, to coaches, to hairdressers, to taxi drivers, to dentists, to priests, to whoever is helping anybody already.
Yeah, or a grandmother who is always talking to people, like and affordable, of course. That's why we do these webinars actually in a way for free, even though we always, you know, live on donations. So it's, you know, but still it is available for anybody. And wherever we are, you know, we see to that people can join this. And then we also give our materials for free, most of it. Or all of it actually, so that anybody can access.
Yep, it's a great business idea. Give it away.
Yeah.
And then the last part is reallocation. So the idea here is it's not if everybody suddenly can do something about trauma, what's going to happen to all the poor therapists that spent years training themselves in treatments? And the answer is, instead of seeing everybody in a long line where every 10th person is about to break or commit suicide because they're not getting help on time, we can take care of 80% of people who need help ourselves by learning this and doing it ourselves. And then the 20% that are left can go directly without waiting in line to those that are professional therapists and offer professional treatment and primary care.
Yeah. And then in Sanskrit, I mean, this sundar means something beautiful, and you know, it's a very good word. It's like turikumwe, but it's in Sanskrit. I mean, the language that is the origin of Hindi, for example, and when the language that was so many books were written in the old time India. So sundar means beautiful. So all this, when breaking down things into this, it creates beauty in the world, like peace.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the focus we have, as you've understood, focus is on stress and trauma is stress, but trauma is perpetuating stress. That's the difference.
If you make full screen, it's good. If you want to continue.
So what we want to do is we want to create resilience for daily pressure. And everybody has daily pressure. With Corona, it's estimated in Sweden alone, which has been pretty lax and generous with the lockdowns, that post-traumatic stress has increased with 12% compared to prior to Corona, just because of the lockdowns and the insecurity and all the discussions. So creating resilience for daily pressure means simply doing one of our 5-minute techniques on a daily basis. And also when you come back from work, come back from school, and normally we've taught this to first responders and blue light works, like people in firefighters and ambulance and police. But it's the same for a school kid, because going to school can be like going to war for some kids. And for some kids, it's like we're going home. But when you want to talk about it, you can make a clean debrief by simply doing these techniques as you speak about what happened during the day.
Yes, you don't have ever to ask a child, oh, what were the bad things you experienced, or what happened. Just asking, so what happened, and then just doing it as a routine. I mean, this is what we're saying, keeping it, making it being part of the fingertips activities, just like that. Oh, this is something we do before we eat, or before a meeting or so. And of course, after a traumatic incident, of something has happened. When it's possible to sit down. I mean, both this tapping that we're going to do soon, and hopefully we'll show you also some havening before we finish. One of them can easily be done. You just come to, a place where some people are sitting down after something happened, and they, and even doing this can, prevent the development of post-traumatic stress, because if you are able to lower the stress at the moment of, or just after, I mean, within some time, not too long time after the traumatic incident, that is the hypothesis that you can actually decrease the risk of developing PTSD.
Yeah. And so also you may ask, is it useful directly after an incident? Is it useful if the incident happened 20 or 30 or 40 years ago? And the answer is this: stress and trauma are the same. It's only the level of it, and it's always happening right now. You cannot experience stress yesterday, but you can experience it now as if it was happening again. So at any time that you feel it in your body, you can do one of these techniques and you will resolve it and diminish it.
Yeah, and that's part of our mission, is to make people aware of what happens with a person or yourself when you're traumatized, and see to that the person can be helped by these techniques.
So when we say notice the signs of stress and help colleagues, we'd love for you to just take 2 seconds and write really quickly the first thing that comes to your mind that makes you notice that somebody else is stressed, or that you yourself are stressed. What are signs that somebody is stressed?
Yeah. So just add it into the chat, or somebody can open
Aggression,
the mic also,
absolutely.
No
Anger, raising their shoulders, absolutely. They stop smiling. Walking fast, not saying hello, the look on their face, short breathing, frown.
What does frown? What does it mean?
Frown, it's when you do this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that is, I mean, this vagus nerve, which is the biggest nerve of the body, that connects, your guts and all your inner organs, and it's very connected to the parasympathetic nervous system. It starts from with the face. That's actually where you first will see that something is changing in a person, and it goes to the voice, and then the heart. So it goes, the whole way down to the intestines and the other inner organs.
Yeah. Anger over
Blanking
trivial
out.
things. Well, usually there's a good saying that when somebody overreacts, it's not about the now. And the saying is, if it's hysterical, it's historical.
Staring, not talking. Exactly. Some get, mute. So, and just get, high strained voice. Exactly. So their face and the voice, some people start talking very strangely. Irritable expressions, snapping. What is snapping? It's like being.
That's when you do something just
very, yeah,
like that.
Exactly. Because you lose your rhythm. That's why we, tend to hit things, or bang into things or people or so. When you see a person who's really stressed if you live in a city, you'll see people banging into others or the door. And because and when you calm, you can follow the flow, So it's all comes because you lose your rhythm, and you lose the rhythm with others, which is the opposite of being, connected in synchronicity with others.
And the reason you forget words and memory goes, it's because if you read a book by one of our heroes, you usually have it next to you, Gunilla. It's Bessel van der Kolk.
Mm-hmm. This one.
The Body Keeps the Score. So this is a book written by one of the biggest trauma experts in the world, because he has both clinical and research experience. Usually research is done by people without clinical experience. So you have the clinicians and then you have the researchers, and then they try to meet, somewhere in reality. But Bessel, he has been running a trauma clinic, I think 30 years, and he has been able to compare different methods, to look at research, to compare brain scans. And what happens when you're stressed or traumatized? Well, half of your brain goes black. It is actually turned off. So you don't have access to language. You don't have access to rational thinking. Your frontal cortex is down. You don't have impulse control, which is why you're irritable. So there are neurobiological explanations for all of this. And yes, can't sleep. Chante, that's a very, very good point. Sleep is one of the major indicators. There are two major indicators that a person is stressed. One is sleep patterns are changing. And the other one is they don't have a sense of humor anymore. They're not smiling. They're not laughing. They're not joining in. They're not socializing. They don't feel like stuff is important that used to be important. So humor and sleep.
Yeah.
So let's do the opposite. What are signs that somebody is actually not stressed? Somebody is comfortable. Somebody is resilient. Somebody is able to stand in the eye of the storm, and they will go, yeah, it does seem like like the house burned down, but on the other hand, we do have some marshmallows here, and at least we can warm them up.
Yeah, I just want to mention this, what Tim wrote: head and stomach aches, which are so common. Headaches. So thank you for mentioning those physical.
And lack of interest in intimacy.
Yeah, definitely too.
Because that's one of the first thing that the whole nervous system puts to the side. So a lot of people actually get treatment and medication for what seems to be ADHD, lack of focus, lack of concentration, what seems to be erectile dysfunction or sexual disinterest. And in reality, it is none of these. It's just simply that the body is hypervigilant and those things are turned off.
Yeah, otherwise we are smiling, calm, good eye contact. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you
interested in others. Depression is a complete loss of interest in anybody and focus on yourself.
Standing tall, that's a nice
in a
one.
sad way.
Happy, joy.
And what you're writing
Laughing.
right now, all these things that you're writing are actually what in Stanford and Berkeley EDX in the Science of Happiness are rated to be things that make people like or love you. We like people who are interested in us, who are open,
Kind.
who are smiling, who are present, who are
Especially
kind.
glow, big smiles and sparkling eyes, shoulders down and free breathing, smiling, present, open. Chest bone is up. Yeah, it's like present. That's again the gorilla, isn't it? Yeah, here I am, no problem. So
actually,
with a smile.
You're more lovable when you're not stressed. You're more charismatic when you're not stressed.
And sleeping well, of course, energy flowing, creativity flowing. Yeah, exactly. The flow compared to this, what was it? Snapping. I mean, this snapping and flowing. Could that be opposites in English? Snapping and flowing. Yeah,
well,
anyway.
Snapping is actually when you bite at somebody. Somebody comes and says,
okay.
"How are you doing?" Shut up.
Yeah.
You too.
Okay.
That's
okay. So what would be the opposite of flow? This kind of jerky or what?
Yeah, jerky movement, out of rhythm. So flowing is when you're moving along like a river, cruising. You can almost hear the music going on in the head without the headphones. And then when you're moving like a dinosaur with very short erratic movements, out of rhythm, that would be the opposite.
Yeah, empathic. Yeah, of course, empathy.
Yeah,
so
being able to relate to people is empathic. So yeah, they're both good.
Yeah, and in this, I just come to think of that research they did with what's it called in English? Then Samaritan.
Yeah,
the Samaritan,
Samaritan.
the story. Yeah, so they did this talking about stress, what happens with you. They many years ago they did this study with some actually students who were studying theology, and they were studying this theme from the Bible about the what's it called, the Samaritan, it, Lorna, yeah, anybody knows it, say it. Oh, so people know the Samaritan who is
The helpful Samaritan?
Yeah, is
The
it?
Good Samaritan.
Sorry,
Good
the Good Samaritan. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
They-
that simple.
Yeah, it was that simple. Yeah, so they're talking about this Good Samaritan, and then they divide the group into two. So 20 are they tell that, oh, you're going to have a lecture on this Good Samaritan for these other students who are studying philosophy. And to that group they said, oh, you really hurry up because it starts in only 5 minutes. You have to rush to that other building where it is. And then along the way, they had placed this person along the road who was an actor, but acting as being wounded, or I mean, laying on the ground, so needing help in one way or the other. And then to the other group, they would say that, oh, it's fine, you have plenty of time. You can start moving in 15 minutes, and then you can prepare the hall before the other students come. And then they saw these guys who got directly into stress because this was like a test that they were going to have this lecture on the Good Samaritan. They just passed, except for some, who were looking, while these guys who were not in a hurry would stop and talk and say, and this tendency that when we are not having these, signs of being relaxed but rather the opposite, when we are stressed, we start to behave differently. It's very, in very short time, we start becoming in a way different, just because we think that we need to get to something, so nothing on the way can distract us. That goes, of course, and that it's not for 100%, but it was so much larger in the group that were in a hurry that actually just passed this person. And you can think of yourself what happens because you also go into this tunnel vision. So actually you don't see a lot, because the brain, thinks that it's better you focus on the threat than looking at so many things around, the opposite, having the peripheral vision open to see the whole picture of what is happening around you. But it goes into this very limited vision. So you just see perhaps the building where you go, and perhaps they didn't even see this guy, which you can do when you're calm. Okay, so that was just the association. So
yeah, definitely. So really, really good points here. So the thing is this, we usually don't try to define if a person is traumatized or not, because in most of the diagnostic manuals, it's about, have you experienced an event that was this or that? And today, people talk about different kinds of trauma. You have a trauma that is related to a single event, and you have another kind of trauma which comes from a complete childhood of abuse or neglect or curling or whatever. So that's often called a complex trauma. But we say that is irrelevant. What's relevant is if this person is not able to think, act, behave, and feel a way that is satisfactory for them to have a full life. They are being stopped by their nervous system taking over. So we talk about different ways trauma is expressed, rather stress and trauma is expressed, rather than saying that that you need to make a diagnosis, because this is first aid. We don't do diagnosis. So there's an acronym called CASE, and it's about the 4 or 5 channels in which you can note stress and trauma. And the C stands for cognitive. It's your thinking. So you have conscious and subconscious thoughts, and you might find it difficult to think about yourself, to mentalize an experience, because every time you think about it, you get very stressed or anxious, or you could have intrusive thoughts or catastrophe thoughts that your brain is trying to help you to avoid something very traumatic by simply creating disaster scenarios 24/7, which then will make you stressed. And then we have autonomous functions of the nervous system. So you react automatically, acting out defensive rage cravings. You have somatization because after time, this will go into the body and affect you. And you will start getting stiffness, pain, restlessness, headaches, digestion issues. And then you have emotional reactions to an event, which means you either are feeling things all the time or you are not able to access your feelings because you have dissociated from them. And the fifth way that trauma can be noted and expressed, which is among the symptoms that you wrote there, it's behavior. Changes in behavior that weren't there before. All of a sudden, the person is avoiding situations, avoiding people, medicating themselves in different ways. They're procrastinating. They're not getting things done, or they have created some kind of social phobia that they don't want to meet people. So what can we do when somebody expresses any of these things? Well, what do you say, Gunilla?
I think it's time to do the what we call the hero technique, the TTT. Some of you have done it before, and so we and some of you are new, but we do go for some practice. So we go for the TTT, the trauma tapping technique, so that we can all have it really at the top of our fingers, at the fingertips, whenever we need it. Let me just get Isela Aguilar is coming.
Yeah, I'll let her in.
Yeah. So this is what our work started out with, and this TTT. So we just do it together. So you sit up and don't lean your back towards anything. If you're sitting in a sofa, sit at the end of the couch, and so that you have your feet in the floor and straighten your on your back. You take a deep breath in, you breathe in, lift your shoulders, and then roll them back a bit and breathe out. And again, you breathe in and hold your shoulders as high as you can and roll them back and breathe out. And just one time more. So you breathe in and then roll the shoulders back and breathe out. So the TTT consists of tapping on certain points, and you see the points on this drawing. And we just will do it together. But before we start, you can close your eyes for a short while. You close your eyes. You notice what it feels like in your body, how the feet are on the floor and how you're sitting, wherever you're sitting. And your shoulders then, where the position of them now, your thoughts, your head, the temperature in your hands. Just notice, because all change starts with observation, to notice what it feels like, because you have to feel that there is a difference. Even if the difference is small, you have to feel the difference, because otherwise you have no idea when something is changing. And then from that, with still closed eyes, you go to something. Don't open the box of Pandora with all the big T's, the big traumas, but go to something that stresses you or worries you somewhat, so that you can just check what happens when you're using this TTT. So you go to something that you can feel an effect in your body. And then when you found that, you can rate it with this, what is usually called SUD, subjective units of distress, because you can only measure yourself. Nobody else can measure the pain you have inside you when thinking about something, when the past is present. How is it, So you rate that worry or stress or anxiety from 0 to 10, where 0 is like neutral, or, it has no reaction, and 10 is very much, you're feeling almost unbearable. But don't go to anything that is unbearable, but take something in the mid-range. So, and when you found it, if you like, you can put up your fingers so we know where you are. The number, you can show it with your fingers just, okay. So that's good. Okay, perfect. And then you take a deep breath again. So you breathe in with your nose and breathe out and open your eyes. Perfect. And then we start the tapping. So we start on the side of the hand, which is called the karate chop side, or, you know, just the side of your hand. And we tap with the 2 or 3 fingertips. I use 3. And you do it like 10 to 15 times. But now you can just follow what I do. And you do it not super, it's not like caressing or, you know, just doing very, very soft, and it's not banging, of course, but it's something in between. In Swedish, we have this word lagom, which is not too much, not too little. And so it's like this. So it starts here, like a greeting with your hand. Okay, and then we go to so you put your thumb on your temple, and then you do this opening your forehead, or you give massage to your forehead, which is protecting your prefrontal cortex, where this logic and executive functions of your brain are, and they are kind of offline when you are stressed or traumatized. So this gives gives circulation to the blood and activates it at least a little bit. Okay, good. And it also gives some calming feeling when you're doing this over your forehead. Very good. And then you tap with your fingers just above your nose, where the eyebrows meet. Unless you look like Frida Kahlo, my big hero, in the artist who had eyebrows that grow together, but then it's just above the nose. Okay, and then you go along, you take your fingers, let them slide over your eyebrows to the outside of your eye. So you go there, and don't forget to breathe while you do this. And then you go under your eyes, so it's on the top of your cheekbone. Perfect, wonderful. And then you go with one hand under the nose. And then you go around your mouth, between the lip and the chin. And then again, we go down to the gorilla tapping over your chest. And perhaps it's a kind of lot of sound. It's kind of cold in this house, so I have this too much clothes on. But you tap all over the chest, so it's not. And even on the sternum, on the breastbone, because there behind is this thymus gland, which is very important when it comes to your immune system. So and these vibrations that it goes when you tap on bones will vibrate into, you know, to your body and your organs, which is good. And then you put one hand on the other shoulder, and then you tap just 90 degrees with your arm like this, and you tap on the other side on the chest, what do you call it, ribs, it's on the ribs here on the side. Okay, and then you go for your fingers. You start with tapping, and then you can put your thumb there to give it a bit more stabilization, so stabilize the fingers. So it's just where beside the nail, so it's like the last or the first joint, above the first joint, the fingertip, but on the side of the finger. And then you go for the thumb. And since the chest is such a beautiful and wonderful and effective area, we do it once again. All over the chest and the breastbone and this lymph drainage points, I think it is called, and. So, and then you release your hands, or you relax the hands down, let them go to your lap, and then you breathe in. So you breathe in through your nose. Hold your breath, and like I said, that will press blood into your heart more. And then you breathe out. This F, or make it slow. That activates the parasympathetic nervous system more. And you breathe in with your nose, and you hold your breath for a while, and then you breathe out. Very good. So then you go for the other side. So then we go for the other hand. So if you did the left, now you do the right, or opposite. And if you don't remember, it doesn't matter really, but it is good to do on both sides. Everything that goes over the midline and goes, you know, to say, crossing the midline will make your brain more active. And then you go for this, that some will call then the crown pool. That was also within, if you know about Donna Eden's energy medicine, she was one of the, you know, pioneers in using the body to heal the mind, or what you say, just doing different exercises. So this would be called a crown pull or the prefrontal cortex massage. And then you tap again where the eyebrow starts. Bihemispherical, that was the word I was looking for. Bihemispherical exercises that gives good communication to both your hemispheres of your brain when you use your right hand on the left side of your body and vice versa. Okay, and then you go under the eye, on the little hill there, and then you go under the nose, and then under the mouth. And remember to breathe. And then you go on the chest and your breastbone. You can also make some sounds. This is a very good exercise if you're singing. Oh, to use your voice while tapping on the chest. We have that exercise also actually. Oh, and then you put your hand on the other shoulder, and then you go on the side of your chest. And then for your fingers, you start with your little finger, the pinky, and then the next ones. Next one. Next one. And beautiful thumb. That is very unique for us. Imagine all the things we do with our hands. Should thank them so much each morning that they are there, like the rest of our body. But the hands, wow, they do a great job. And then back to the chest. And then relax your hands, and then you breathe in. Hold your breath for a while and breathe out. And then breathe in. Hold your breath for a while and breathe out. Very good. And then you can close your eyes again. So you close your eyes for a little while. You again go through your body a bit, how it feels now. The contact to the floor with your feet, and how you sit, how the contact and the feeling of the weight sitting where you're sitting. Your breathing, how the breathing feels, if it's whatever differs. The temperature of your hands, the shoulders, how they are. Your head and your thoughts and your mind, the face. Just notice, you know, just notice how it feels and breathe sometime. And then, and what feels different? What do you notice? And then you can go to whatever you thought of before and to your rating and this SUD, subjective units of distress, and just see where you are now. And then if you like, you can put up your fingers again where you are now. Great. Thank you so much. Very good. Yeah, so that was the technique. So if any of you would like to just give some reflection on this, you're welcome to write in the chat or open your mic. We'll be happy to hear the voice of somebody. Perhaps Valerie, who I've only been communicating with on or not really, but almost mostly on emails.
My body feels both more relaxed but stronger. So it's easier. I feel like I'm sitting more comfortably upright.
Wonderful.
things, where my stomach was a little upset, very, very little upset now. And I actually had to kind of go and tune back into that. It just kind of went away as we were doing the tapping.
Thank you so much. Good. Thank you. Somebody else would like to use your voice? Crystal, you're mute. What about Crystal? Yes, let's hear you.
Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
I like the bi-hemisphere part of just using both parts of your brain and body, and it makes me feel more relaxed. I went from 7 to 4, so that's pretty
Great.
good.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Nice. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and Tim is saying problem seems more remote. So a lot of you will realize or experience that the way your brain represents something, a challenge, a memory, a situation, a problem, actually changes. It changes when you change your physical response to it. So an issue getting more blurred or further away or more remote, those are normal changes.
Yeah. And somebody
Inaccessible, like Joachim says. So what you're noticing here is you're noticing two things. You're either noticing how your mind represents the issue differently, right? So it's more remote, it's different, inaccessible, or you're experiencing a shift in your physiology, which is I feel heavier, I sneeze, I yawn, I'm grounded, I'm calm, I'm buzzing. There can be an emotional change. I feel happier, lighter, different. And there can be a change in the SUD, which is more like a number, numerical representation of your change.
Yeah, I'm feeling really hot because of energy is flowing. Yeah, and that's what I mean. This with temperature changing, in the body. So that's fantastic. And let's see who.
Do we see TTT as only first aid or a strategy for a longer resolution to a trauma? Well, do you see mouth to mouth as a first aid or a strategy for surviving drowning? I'm kidding. But the thing is this, if you have a traumatic reaction and you do TTT, that can actually be a long-term solution that doesn't require any more treatment than that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how this work started. It is using only TTT to assist people who are traumatized. And since we started many years ago in 2007, we have follow-up of people who, lost their symptoms and their traumas at that year and still never came back. And that has been going year after year. So yes, it is for everything. But we call it, like Ulf said before, first aid also, because we don't use the word therapy when it comes to TTT, because we want everybody to be able to use this technique. Because if you call it therapy, there are people who will oppose, as we say, it's just first aid. But I remember you said one time, Ulf, it's the bonus is, if we have
if you do trauma tapping, you will experience a lowering of heart rate. You will experience actually producing less cortisol. You'll probably feel a little bit lighter and more focused. And as a side effect, you might also resolve a 20-year-old traumatic conditioning.
Yeah, and that's how it is, because this conditioning can be there so long. So our original mentor, Dr. Carl Johnson, he was working with, here he is when we went the first time to Burundi together in 2007. And he is an expert in trauma since many years. He's a psychologist and working in the US. He's from Virginia. And for him, using these techniques was when he really felt that his clients were healing properly. So this is, has this years and years of experience.
Yeah, we might show you also a little bit of situations where we have experience from, because we have experience from spreading this in over 30 countries, and we believe that we've reached over 200,000 people. So there's a slight evidence base there to consider.
Yeah, so as we said in the beginning, that this work started in Rwanda, because thinking that, as we mentioned, that there's so much help to be found in Sweden, but in many places where things have happened that have really, caused a lot of traumatic reactions in people, there is very little resources for healing. So, and through people we knew since before, since different projects, since we are both activists and been working with human rights, you know, in different ways, we asked some friends in Rwanda, surviving orphans of the genocide, if they wanted us to come and teach this. It was an organization of orphans. We chose this always, that we never just come to a place without having connections. So there it started in Rwanda in 2007. And then this also shows very well our philosophy is that we very soon make ourselves unnecessary, which is very important for us. We are, I mean, in a way, we're experts because we have done this for so long time, but we leave it to others to, you know, to carry on. It's not that we are needed or we need to come back and come back and come back for sessions and sessions and sessions. It is, we give it to people to help themselves and then help others. That's a very important part of the work of Peaceful Heart Network.
And that's also because as a survivor, to be a survivor, to go from a victim to a survivor, you need to be empowered. And the empowerment is that you can actually do something yourself and you can be one of those who help others. So it's extremely important. So, and another thing is that we went over the border to Congo where we would help people. And some of the people that were treated very early on from the genocide survivors and child soldiers in Congo, we know these people 10 years later. We have a 10-year follow-up. We stay in touch.
Mm.
And
Yeah, so
some
this-
of them, I just want to add that the training for one of the first trainings you attended in Rwanda, some people would come up and say, that looks stupid. We're traumatized from genocide. We don't sleep at night. Do you really truly believe you're going to come here and show us how to tap our bodies and that's going to help? It looks stupid, but I'll do it anyhow. And then some of them would come back a day later and say, it still looks stupid, but I slept for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah, one of our first long-stand colleagues, Robert, he would come after the first or second workshop we had together with Dr. Johnson, and said that, you know, for the first time, the war was not in my room during this night, because the soldiers used to come in my dreams, and my brother hated because in the night I would scream so much, you know, so nobody could sleep. So this is actually the effect that can come after, you know, just a training, and I've seen it over and over again. And then for others, it takes a long time even to feel the effect of it. So it all depends, you know, we never say that this is how it works. No, for some it's like that, for some it's different. For some you need longer training for your nervous system to get adjusted to another level that goes from this arousal and down to a balanced and more calm state. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that this guy with the white t-shirt, now you don't see his face, his name is Germando, and he was in the first training we had in Congo, and he came up to me and said that, you know, I'm going to stay in contact with you because this is really something that is very valuable. And he has. And I mean, I spoke to him latest today, and he's doing other workshops still in Congo over with different communities. So for some, it really is for a lifetime, you know, like for us. I mean, I say I will never stop sharing this, never, because it has given me so much joy. People think that working with trauma is something very heavy. For me, it's completely the opposite. It is the most joyful activity I had in my life, because people start smiling, you know, being relaxed, starting singing or talking after being closed and so tense that you can hardly speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So also, you have to remember that if a soldier goes to war, there will be somebody hurt on the other side, most probably, but the soldier will come back also with shame and guilt, because either you're defending yourself or you're looking to help people in another place. Regardless of what, there is always this aspect of that somebody is a perpetrator, somebody is a victim or survivor. And we make no difference, because if we want to have a society where we can live alongside each other, everybody needs equal help to handle their stress.
Yeah, so we have had several projects in the prisons in Rwanda. We are starting one now, a bigger one, also together with the Rwanda Correctional Service, which is the authority for the prisons. And that has been, a fantastic journey, because they've really been so motivated to learn this technique in a way that we've seen in few other places. People can say, yeah, it's good, but these guys, we are say, wow, you come here and it's something that helps us. And some will even say that, yeah, I want to ask forgiveness to these people that I have hurt after having been closed and not communicating and then opening up. One guy, he said that, yeah, Gunilla, I don't know if this technique is good or bad, but it makes my heart speak, it makes my heart speak. And I want to meet those people that I hurt and ask forgiveness,
And here is also, because Carl Johnson said, go to the most vulnerable because nobody else is going to help them, and focus on trauma because there's plenty of help for everything else. If people need to stop smoking or biting their nails, that's fine. There's plenty of help for that. But there's very little help for people who are in the places where there is no infrastructure. So if you look at this picture, you see this is from Lesbos, the Isle of Lesbos, where people pass on in rubber rafts, 80 people in a raft made for 10. Infants, women in the middle, men on the outer circle, hypothermia, ice cold water, engine broken, not knowing if you'll survive. So what you have is these people in the boat that need help, but equally you see that war and conflict will affect also the people helping these people. So we went there first of all to help the actual volunteers, because it's very easy to get burnt out as a volunteer and an activist. A lot of them are very young, in their 20s. They have no prior training. They're there. There are no authorities that will stop them because it's all chaos. So they will be down at the beach waiting for boats to come in 3 days in a row without sleep. So you can get something called an NGO burnout in as little as 72 hours, and that will last you a couple of months. So it's extremely important, if you're going to help other people, that you, like we did in the greeting at first, help yourself first. Don't jump into wherever people are and empathize with them. Rather, stay compassionate and lean down a hand and say, I can help you. Do you want me to show you something that could make you feel better?
Yeah.
And this is actually from the place where we did this greeting from.
Greeting. Yeah. This is City of Joy. The place in Congo for women subjected to gender-based violence in the war of Eastern Congo. But I was just thinking, can't you just also show, and then perhaps we do some havening before we finish?
Yeah.
Do you want to just show the picture of the TAS?
Yes.
Our best, because it connects to what Ulf was just saying, that we saw that there on Lesbos, what was most needed, rather than anything else, was a technique that we call TAS.
It seems that we don't have a slide for TAS.
Oh yes, we have, but perhaps you don't find it. Not THX, but TAS.
I know, but it's not in this slide deck. That's very strange.
Well, that's strange. So we'll have to have it next time then.
Yeah, let's keep that a mystery, a cliffhanger.
Yeah, TAS. So you think about what that can stand for. So
don't Google it because you can't find it.
But we will tell you next time.
But we could give them the answer to everything. Should we do that?
Yeah, so it is like when people ask, should I do like this or like that? Or, can I use it for this or for that?
Can I do 2 rounds? Can I skip one spot? Can I do it directly after trauma?
Isn't it that somebody being subjected to gender-based violence or any kind of sexual violence rather, do not like touch of the body? Yeah, it depends. I still didn't meet anybody who didn't want to try this, but it all depends. There is not, this is how it is, this is how it's not. It always depends.
Yeah, so it depends.
Yeah.
So why don't we just round this off where we started it, and we can go backwards in time. So why don't you just put your feet down again? Put your feet down and, focus on the screen. And do you remember, you put your hands together like this? That's the havening. And it's like you have a small glass pearl between your hands. You don't want to crush it. You don't want to drop it. You want to do this slow, pensively, thoughtfully, as if you're rolling the future of the earth between your hands. Right. And it should tickle a little bit. And then you move from side to side a little bit, engaging fine motorics. And actually, if you walk in slow motion. Move a little bit in slow motion as if you're walking, listening to a great tune or the waves of the ocean. And then you can breathe in and hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out on the letter F. F as in philosophy, which isn't an F really.
No, exactly. It's pH.
Gotcha, didn't I? And one more time, breathe in. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out on F as in fine. Hold your breath. Breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. And breathe out on an F. F as in fantastic, fascinating.
Flow.
And then put on the smile that you would put on that you have reserved for only your very best friends, for only your finest experiences of life, for only those moments that you cherish and that you wish that you could paint as paintings and hang in the museum of your lifetime. The moments that you hope that tonight when you fall asleep and dream, you will dream endlessly of these moments with a spotless mind.
Yeah, and the smile that you now give to all of us. And that's fantastic. We get this gift, this.
And that smile is like that's the whole fire they use in the beginning when they light up the fire of the Olympic Games. It's a fire that is handed, you know, as a torch from one person to another. That's what your smile does. It lights up every person in your way, and it's more contagious than COVID actually, because the smile will actually transmit to other people even over social distancing, even over
that's the magic of it.
screens.
That's the complete magic of this.
And so far there is actually, you cannot vaccinate against this smile. All you can do is embrace it and enjoy it frivolously.
Yeah, I wonder how many smileys are sent all over the world every day. You know?
What's going to happen if you walk with this smile into your job, into your workplace? What would happen if you brought this smile to your last argument and just, you know, came back and just smiled at everybody, including yourself? Wouldn't that be fun?
Good. Great. So that was the beginning of evening. We will continue next time. But before, so just feel what it feels like in your system.
So practice this now and feel what it's like in your system, and just write in the chat whatever you take with you at the top of your head from these 90 minutes so that you can pick that up when we do our second part. So whatever you bring with you from these 90 minutes, just write it in the chat.
And we will go start from there next time and hope you will join us.
And during the last minute, we'll just redo our greeting, and we made a perfect circle.
Yeah, that's so good. Because the day
Calmness,
2, I'm just checking.
Joy.
That's next week.
Yeah.
22nd.
So soon, so soon.
Patience, new knowledge and insight. Wonderful. Wow.
Empowerment, joy. Patience. Patience is nice.
Yes, Sophia.
Yeah.
Never stop, Annika. That's great. Never stop.
It. New technique. Calm. I want to pass it on. Beautiful.
Connection. Yeah.
Smart.
Connection to ourselves and to others, isn't it? That's what happens in this. A restart for Sarah.
Restart, reset, rejoice, reduce.
Reduce. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
So
why don't you lead it?
Yeah. So let's go for that clap. So we do it together again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to yourself. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Why? Fly and look up and do it again. No. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, front, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Congratulations to all of us who met.
Congratulations. And
beautiful.
thanks for the facts about smiling. Yeah. Give
Yeah.
yourself an applaud. Give yourself an applaud. Whee!
Yeah,
As if you
good.
really, really are proud of yourself.
Yeah, not if you are proud of yourself.
No,
Yeah,
as if you are.
yeah. So that's good. You know, clapping your hands, even that will bring joy, you know, just hearing this. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And welcome on 22nd of September for the second part. We will continue from here.
Yep.
Good. Bye-bye.
Thanks, peeps. Take care. Rejoice. Have fun.
And
As we
thank
say
you.
in Sweden, hopp och lek.
Yeah. Jump and play. That's what we say. Hopp och lek. Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, everybody.